Okay, hi YouTube. My name is Christy Hill, and I want to share my story with you about me getting breast cancer. I'm a little late starting these videos, but a friend of mine had shared a video with me about a woman. She did a video, and it was 8 days after she had bilateral mastectomy. And I watched the video, and it inspired me to do one myself. Just start a vlog and to share with you my journey. And it all started actually back in like February or March. I had felt two lumps on my left breast, in the underneath part of my breast. I didn't think anything of it. I'm only 35 years old, and so I asked a couple friends, and I was like, well, they all said, well, it could just be, a cyst or a mass or something. And so I just let it go. And then a month later, I felt, and it was still there, not going away. So I decided to make a doctor's appointment and schedule for a mammogram. Went in my doctor, and he gave me a referral to a place that does just mammograms. It was the breast center here in Chicago. And so I went in for my mammogram on May 18th. And they did the mammogram, and then they did a sonogram. And the doctor came in after they did the sonogram, looked at it, and told me that I had to have a biopsy. So we scheduled my biopsy for May 29th, which was just like a week and a half later. And when I went in for my biopsy, she told me my risks. So I've had implants since 2006. Yes. And so she said, I want you to know that the lumps are directly on top of your implant. And so we are taking the risk of me rupturing your implant, but I'm going to try really hard not to rupture your implant. So 3 wonderful women came in the room, and I was able to watch her do the biopsy on the screen. And she did the first one. What they do is they numb you up, and they stick a needle in there, and they take a sample of the mass. So she got the first one, and she was like, okay, we're going to get the second one. And she took it, but she backed off, and she said, okay, I'm going to stop because I'm really scared I'm going to hit your implant. And it did look like it was just right above my implant. So that was on Tuesday. On Friday, which was June 1st, she called me. She called me, and she told me that I have breast cancer, that the nurse would be calling me later to schedule an appointment for me to meet with a panel of doctors. So the following day, which was a Saturday, June 2nd, I felt like something was off, and then I noticed that my implant was starting to deflate. Now, not only is my world turned upside down because she called me and told me I have breast cancer, and now my breast is deflating. And I was completely devastated. And more reasons than one. I'm going to be completely transparent here and really, really share my story because that way you can feel my emotions as I talk about this. So for the last year, I moved to Chicago from Oklahoma last July, picked up my life and my 3 kids, and I started all over. And I came here with absolutely nothing. And I started dancing. And so for a year, I was paying my bills, putting a little money away here and there, just going through life stuff. And so when my implant started to deflate, I realized that I was no longer going to be able to work that job. So my income has completely stopped. And so I've had to figure out something else to do. Now I can't just really go get a job because here pretty soon I'm going to be having surgery and I can't just go start a job. But actually for the last year, I've been learning e-commerce and trying to build a store and build a business online. So I have actually I've been trying to like work on my exit plan from the place that I was working at because I could not, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to work there forever, you know. So then on June 4th, which was that Monday, I went back in and they did another sonogram just to look to see if, the fluid that's kind of floating around in my breast from the implant leaking. And it was leaking very, very slowly, but it was leaking. Now, here we are, June 29th, and my implant is completely deflated. So I'm completely lopsided. I have a flat tire. I'm able to smile about it now, but I was pretty upset in the beginning. And then June 8th, I met with the panel of doctors, which was my surgeon, the radiologist, the hormone therapist, and the oncologist, and a navigator. So it's just a group of doctors, and one by one, they came in and they talked to me, about what type of cancer I have, which is a hormone-driven cancer, which I'll put down in the description below of exactly what type of cancer that I have. And so then they said that the next step was for me to have an MRI so that they can see in depth if it's spreading and if it's spread into my lymph nodes. So on June 20th, I had an MRI. So I had to wait because when they do the MRI and do that kind of test, they have to, it's the way that our body works with our hormones. It has to be after your period, between day 7 and day 12 after your period. So I did my MRI and I got my test results back on June 25th, was actually this Monday. And she let me know that the cancer is very slow growing. It's not spread into my lymph nodes, that they can see not from a microscopic level. When they do the surgery, they will take my lymph nodes and they will send the test in right away while I'm in surgery just to make sure that it's not spread into my lymph nodes. So today I met with my surgeon and she went over my MRI test results. I did take a gene test because breast cancer, they wanted to see if breast cancer runs in my family, and it does not. They did this whole bunch of tests to see, and it does not run in my family. So it's just like one of those random things that happened to me. This is just something that happened. I got cancer, and I don't know why. My intuition is telling me that maybe it has something to do with my ovaries. I have had cysts on my ovaries, a few times a year for the last 5 or 6 years. And they are extremely painful at times. And so that's what my intuition is telling me, is just that maybe it has something to do with my ovaries. And I do have an ultrasound scheduled next week on July 13th, or in 2 weeks, July 13th, to check my ovaries out, because I do have a cyst right now and it is a little bit painful. So we discussed my MRI, my gene test, what type of surgery I am going to have, which I am going to have a nipple sparing bilateral mastectomy. So they are going to save my nipples. I told her, I was like, I'm kind of attached to those things. But the crappy thing is that I might not have feeling in them afterwards. So, you got to lose some to win some though, right? But the good thing is that I'm not going to have radiation or chemo. I caught it in stage 1. I caught it early enough that they're just going to be able to take it out and then watch me closely afterwards. Monday, I meet with my hormone therapist, and they're going to put me on tamoxifen before the surgeries to see if maybe it could shrink the tumor a little bit. The tumor is 1.5 inches wide in my lower left breast. So Monday I meet with my hormone therapist, and then Tuesday I meet with my reconstruction surgeon, and he will go further into depth with me about my new boobs that I'll be getting and the process of how everything works. This has definitely been an emotional roller coaster. It helps to have support. My mom lives in Missouri, and my ex-husband's parents live here. My ex-husband lives here in Chicago, so my support is my ex-husband's parents and my kids, and my mom will be coming up to stay with me after I have my surgery. So I do have some support, and I have a wonderful, wonderful group of friends that are here in Chicago with me and online, and just people. So I did make a post like a few days ago on Facebook, finally, letting everyone know I am 35 and I have breast cancer, and, it can happen to anyone. I'm healthy. I work out every single day. I eat. I'm very consciously aware of what I eat. I drink greens. A few times a week. I'm a little inconsistent with that. I eat salads. I try to eat a salad every day, every other day. I don't eat much protein. I've cut out the carbs. I've cut out a lot of sugar. I've cut out milk. I've cut out dairy. And so I've really actually lived quite a healthy lifestyle. So this is me just sharing my story, and this is just the very beginning of my breast cancer journey. And I just kind of wanted to document this because, it's not often talked about. I never, before I got breast cancer, I always see, people doing 5Ks and breast cancer awareness and, the pink ribbon everywhere, but never did it cross my mind that it would happen to me until now. And I feel like this is just God giving me a voice to speak out to the world. I've always kind of hesitated talking on camera, but this is just I need to give you the real me. I need to document this so that I can help other women. I want to be able to just bring awareness like everyone does, and, show the real deal with what goes on with having breast cancer. I'm going to, share my story, of document, each thing that happens and go from there. So, thank you for listening to my story and following me on my journey. And my next video, I'm not for sure what it's going to be about, but I do meet with my hormone therapist Monday, so I'm sure it'll be pretty soon. All right. Thanks for listening.